Weatherman called it. Cold and wet. We're not going to be taking the boat out in this weather. Well, all we can do is wait. Well, alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel. I do thank you for watching. I thank all my subscribers, and I want to give a shout out to my new subscribers. Welcome aboard. And as you may recall, in that last video I had to strip the factory finish off of this barrel all the way from the dovetail slot right here. There's the dovetail slot, all the way down to the end of the barrel, and that was because I found some really light corrosion pitting that was real heavy right about in the middle of the barrel, but the barrel had pitting all the way from the dovetail slot down to the end, but it was the heaviest concentration was right here in the middle. So I had to strip that down, had to polish out that pitting, and re-blue the barrel. And if you remember, I mentioned that cold bluing will often darken some more after 3 or 4 days once you have finished the bluing process. And as you can see right here, and let's give that camera time to focus. It darkened up. It darkened up quite nicely. And this is the cold blue right here that I applied, and this is the factory hot blue, and it's almost as dark as this factory hot blue right here. So I'm very happy with that. I can live with that. And so the next step now is to go ahead and reinstall the rear sight in that dovetail slot right there, and go ahead and reinstall the front sight, and then put this rifle back together. So I'm going to get set up for that, and when I'm ready to start that, I'll be right back. Alright folks, I don't know what this camera's going to do with me moving around in front of the lens like this. It might go in and out of focus several times. Not the best camera in the world, but it's what I have to work with. Alright, here goes. Oh, and by the way, you always drive these dovetails in right to left. Drive them out left to right. And this does have a little mark on it right here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little mark. There we go. Okay, there I am. And there is a little mark right there, and that mark faces the left side of the barrel. Alright, here goes. Maybe. Oh, yeah, there we go. I just didn't have it at the right angle. Should have been prepared. Alright. Found the hammer. Let's see if we can zoom in on that just a little bit. Give you a little bit better shot of that. Move the camera. I'm going to move the camera around a little bit. I'm going to jostle it around some. Like I said, it might go in and out of focus. We'll see. Being very careful not to hit the barrel. I bet that camera's shaking a lot. And I did put oil on this. A little more. It's going to be guesswork until I take it to the range and see what the windage adjustment looks like. For now, it's just best guess. Maybe just a tad more. I'm using a calibrated fingernail there. You can buy those at Harbor Freight. It's real close. A couple more light taps. One more little light tap. And like I said, there goes that autofocus thing. So let's zoom back out and give it a chance to catch its breath here. There we go. Way better. Okay, folks. Yeah, we got the rear sight back in. Okay, next up, I'm gonna just put the front sight on and put that little screw in. I'll be right back. I got to reposition this camera. All right, let's get that front sight installed. And I'm using a calibrated wrist for a torque wrench. That screw did have a little bit of blue Loctite on it, so I think we'll be good. Alright, I'll be back. Okay folks, I'm back. And I had to hit the pause button again on this project right here. And that's because we had another Arctic cold front blow through the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And man, yeah, it got cold. It was down to 12 degrees there a couple of nights, and highs in the low 20s there for a few days. But we're finally starting to warm back up, and today it's a real nice day. So I'm going to go ahead and get out here, and here in a few moments I'm going to reassemble this rifle right here. And there's one little thing I've got to do before I can install the barrel and the action in the new stock, and I will show you that here in just a moment. Alright, so these two parts I'm holding in my hand right here, these two pieces make up the magazine catch, and that is what holds this this box magazine in place. And those have to be transferred. Let me put these down. Those had to be transferred from the old stock to the new stock, and they were installed right in this area here. One was to the rear of the magazine well, and of course that would be the magazine release mechanism. And then the retainer was, this is the retainer that was installed in the, or actually that was installed in the stock forward of the magazine well. This would be the magazine well, and I had to press those two pieces out, and those will have to be installed in that new hardwood stock, and I'm going to do that here in just a moment. I'll be right back. And that's the new stock that I'm going to install all of the hardware into. That is I think it's nutmeg, if I remember correctly. Laminated nutmeg, and it was actually less expensive to buy this laminated stock than it was to get just a plain walnut stock. So I went on ahead and grabbed it. But anyway, here in a few moments I'm going to fit these pieces right here, the ones I just showed you, into this new stock, and hopefully those will just drop right in, and I don't have to do any sanding or fitting or anything. So like I said, I'm hoping those will just drop right in. Alright, I will be back here momentarily once I get the camera set up. Alright, that gives us just a little bit better view. So let's get this forward piece pressed in. Let's see how well it tucks in there. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit tight. Make sure we don't have any extra little pieces of wood in there blocking my path. I might have to come back and clean that up just a little bit. I was hoping this was going to drop right in, but it does not look like it's going to. Okay, yeah. I'm going to have to get just a little bit of sandpaper out and clean this up. And I think where I've got a sand on it is right here on this channel right here where I'm running my finger, because it does feel just a little bit rough. Let's see what the other one does. Let's see, make sure we got top and bottom right. Yeah, now that one went in just fine, but I've got to work on this one just a little bit. Alright, I'm going to do that off camera. I will be right back. Alright, I kind of figured out what was going on here. If you look very closely at this piece, and yeah, I think the camera's picking that up, there is just a little, right where I'm running my fingernail, there is a little, like a little small ridge right there cast into that piece on both sides. It's got one right there too. And so I had to come in here with a file and just file out a shallow little groove. So I'm going to see if that was enough so that I can press this piece in now. Alright. And I might have to work on that a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to have to work on that some more. And let's see, I may have to, let me get that piece back out of there. Well, come on. I guess it started in. So we were almost there. There we go. And what I might do too is I might just dress this up a little bit too with a file, just in case there's any burrs or anything on there that's catching on that wood. So once again, I'm going to turn the camera off and go reset my garage door, and I'll be right back. Alright folks, I've got that piece to where it just will start in there now. You do want that that part right there to be a little bit snug, because that's actually what keeps the magazine from wiggling around. And if the magazine's moving around, you're going to have problems with feeding rounds into the chamber. So it has to be a little bit snug. But I think it might have been just a little bit too snug the way it was. So I'm going to go ahead and try and tap this in now. We're going to give it just a little bit of help. Having a third hand would help. Now that piece was pretty tight coming out of that old stock right there, as I recall. Still in the frame right there. Yeah, it's almost in there. And like I said, it does need to be just a tad bit snug. I do believe that's it. Alright, next up, let's put it all together. Alright, those pieces are fully seated. Just like so. And like I said, they're in there pretty snug, and they need to be in there snug. So Boyd's Hardwoods, they did a good job on that stock. All right, here goes. I should have put gloves on. That's all right. All right. Roll it on its side. And let's see, we're going to give it just a little bit of a tap right there. Don't really think it needs it, but just don't want to get crazy with that. All right, so now all I need to do is install the screws that hold the barrel and the action in place. And I'm going to shut off the camera, I'm going to get that done, and I'll be right back. Alright folks, just like that, the barrel and the action are installed. And I did have to stop and make a hardware store run. The screws that were installed from the factory with this old factory stock right here, they were too short, so I had to make a run to the hardware store, and they did have some machine screws, 1032 machine screws, and they're Phillips head, and this one's an Allen head, but you know what you're going to do. So next up, let's check the magazine, make sure it snaps in like it should, no issues. And got a little bit of movement there, but I don't think, you know, it's not sloppy or anything. You know, I have to force it to move. I think it's behaving the way it's supposed to. But there are ways to address that, you know, if that becomes an issue with feeding, if it causes any problems with feeding. And so yeah, I think we are almost done. Alright, I'm going to put the bolt in and set it up, and then we'll wrap up this video. I will be right back. Alright, before I install that bolt, let me back up here for just a second and make a quick point. The reason you don't want that magazine super snug or real tight is so that when you hit the magazine release, gravity can do its thing. You don't want to have to pry the magazine out of the magazine well. So yeah, a little bit of play is acceptable. It only gets to be a problem if you start having any feeding issues like I mentioned before. Alright, let's get that bolt installed. Alright, and just like that, the bolt's back in it, and let's cycle it. And I'm doing this with my left hand and trying to hold the camera, so there we go. Let me put the camera down. Cycle it one time with my right hand. Just like that. And I know this rifle is completely safe. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I have never taken this to the range. I have not fired it. It has not had any ammo in it since I've owned it. And so I know for a fact there is not a round in the chamber. It is completely safe. But that's it, folks. The next thing I need to do, I need to go out to Cabela's or up to Academy, and I need to get some snap caps so that I can go ahead and decock this rifle. I don't think I can decock this rifle. Once I pull the bolt back, I mean, it's cocked and ready to fire, even though the chamber is empty. I don't like to dry fire a rim fire rifle, so I'll have to go get some snap caps so I can decock the rifle. Alright folks, let me give you a good wide angle shot of that rifle. Man, that is just a 1000% improvement over the way it was when I found it. Stand that up a little bit. Yep. That is way better than a black plastic stock. So alright folks, that is going to do it for this video. If Give you one more shot of that. That's a beautiful stock. Like I said, Boyd's Hardwoods, man, they did a really good job with this stock. I'm real pleased with that. But like I said, that will wrap it up for this video. Hopefully here in the next couple of weeks we will be taking that boat to the lake. I do thank you for being patient with me on that, but like I said, it's been pretty cold here last couple of weeks. It got down to 12 degrees. It almost made it into single digits there. But we were right at, I think, 12 degrees for our lows there a couple of days. And so hopefully now with spring just around the corner, we'll be able to get that boat out to the lake and do our float test. And again, I'm going to be, watching the weather. Because it's not just the temperature that I need to watch, it's also the winds. I mean, if the winds start picking up and we get those 25, 30 mile an hour days like that where the wind's blowing 25, 30 miles an hour, and again, I won't be able to take it to the lake because that is a small boat, and I think it's just ill-equipped to handle high winds. So, we'll just wait and see what the weather does. All right, folks, that's going to do it. I do thank you all for watching, and I just hope you're having a blessed day. And as I always say, in all things, to Christ be the glory, and we will see you in the next video. And hopefully, like I said, we'll be doing the float test on the boat. All right, folks, we'll see you next time.